Hi, today I want to show you my main project web page. So in the last video I showed you some of it, a little bit of it, going from my GitHub account. But there's a more direct way to do it. If you go to my YouTube account page and you look at the description, the top URL is my main project web page. So if you copy that into your browser, you will get there. Okay, so that's the main project web page. Okay, and from here you can see basically different visualizations I created with my Python program, but you don't have to run Python to see them. You just click on the different links I've created. In the home page, you'll see what I call my what's new. Basically, a list of recent postings with their links. Okay, but you can also go from the menu and look at it that way. The Orrery page is a basic description of the project and the key links, okay, including the YouTube videos. If you go to the solar system, it shows you an overall view of the solar system, and there's a description of what I've included in the visualization, as well as a link to it. So let's try that link. Okay. Now what we're doing here is I'm pulling down a download from my Google Drive, and it will create a Plotly chart in HTML. Now these are very large files because Plotly will give you a completely give you a completely functional plot. Okay, 3D plot that can be manipulated. Now, after you're done with it, I would recommend deleting it because, unless you like it, but delete it because they are very large files. Okay, so here's the visualization, and I always like to click the reset camera to default because it gives you a 3D perspective instead of the flat 2D perspective. And this is basically a visualization of the solar system from the outermost reaches that are almost 2 light years away, which is the edge of the sun's gravitational field, and allows you to zoom in. As you zoom in, you start seeing the Oort cloud, which is somewhere between 2,000 and 100,000 astronomical units. Astronomical unit is the distance between the Earth and the Sun. So this is very, very far out there. And you can keep zooming in, and the next thing you start seeing are some of the Kuiper belt objects, like this one here is Sedna. So Sedna is one of the farthest out objects that we've observed, astronomers have observed. It has a very huge orbit. Now, as you keep zooming in, you start seeing this is the edge of the solar wind. So the edge of the solar wind is closer. It's at about 120 astronomical units. As you can see, you can zoom over and read the description, or else you can just click object names only, and so it blocks less of it. So here's Sedna's orbit. You can keep zooming in, and now we're looking at the heliopause. That's basically where the solar wind starts encountering basically stops pushing against. Well, let's see what the full object information says. It's, it's basically where it stops pushing against the interstellar medium. Okay, so as we keep zooming in, you see other objects like Eris. Eris, another Kuiper belt object, very far out there. Finally, you run into Pluto. Pluto is actually another Kuiper belt object, and surprisingly, it's not the farthest out, but there you have it. You keep going in, and you see Neptune, then Uranus, Saturn, Jupiter's orbit. As we keep going in, we see Mars, then the Earth, Venus, Mercury, and then we start getting into the sun's structure. So this shows you where the sun's outer corona limit is. As you keep moving in, you see the inner corona limit. Then you keep moving in, and you see the sun's chromosphere. And then finally you see the photosphere. Now the photosphere is when we look at the sun, don't look at it, but what we see as the sun, that sphere, that's actually the photosphere. And then the visualization actually goes deeper and includes the radiative zone, and then finally the core, where the fusion is actually happening. So the sun's fusion is actually occurring here, and this part is really about 25% of the radius of the sun. So interesting, right? So this is where all the action is. This is the fusion, and this is where it starts. The energy, the light starts moving out to the surface of the sun. It takes thousands of years for it to do that, and then finally emerges in the photosphere. So on the right-hand side, you see the different objects and orbits. Okay, so this is just an example of a visualization you can find in my web page. There's other pages, includes the different planetary systems, space missions, some comets, and then the stellar background. And so I haven't added pages for all the objects I have in my using my Python program, but over time I'll be adding more. Initially, I've just I mostly filled out the planetary systems. Okay, so just an example. Here's the Earth's planetary system, and some illustrations using my Python program. Like this one includes the Earth's magnetosphere, and it's actually the moon. Okay, but with a description of the different objects. Okay, so that's just a very broad overview. I encourage you to look at the website and just explore it. Thanks a lot.